I want to pull up the urologist business model, because this really applies to blood flow, because that's what they're dealing with primarily. You might understand part of this, but most guys don't understand most of this. And it's so important you do, because we're in the situation we're in today where over 52% of the guys are reporting erectile dysfunction. A lot of it has to do with the fact we don't talk about it as men. If women were having this problem, everyone would know about this urologist business model, because women talk about this stuff. Okay. As men, we don't. We keep it inside. So I didn't know this. This blew my mind when I first heard it. And once again, sent me down this holistic path in the first place. I've never taken an ED drug. I almost did. Okay. Until I heard that story from my friend, because he's the one that made me aware of this model. And once again, I'm going to show you this, but don't take my word for it. Go look at any urologist business model, urologist business website, and you'll see this is exactly what they do. Okay. You go into the urologist, they spend maybe 10, 15 minutes with you if you're lucky. You tell them you have ED, and immediately you get the blue pills. Okay. That's just standard right off the bat. They know what they're giving you. As soon as you say ED out of your mouth, that's what they're giving you. And once again, keep in mind, the ED drugs are working on that PDE5 we were talking about before, okay? But it's forcing an erection. The reason guys need this in the first place is the foundation of their ecosystem is not strong enough. So they need something really powerful to punch through to force an erection. Okay, and that's basically what it's doing. It's, instead of getting at the source, it's forcing an erection, okay? And over time, they stop working. That's what they don't tend to tell you either, is your body habituates to them, okay? And the endothelial lining can get compromised as a result, which makes it much more difficult to get natural erections. Okay, 1 to 5 years, they tend to stop working. They also tend to put you on testosterone replacement therapy, but I'm not going to get into all of that today and its side effects. Maybe when we get into the erection biochemicals, I'll talk about that one. Let's just stick with this, because once again, even the TRT, most guys I talked to who are on TRT, it did nothing for their erections. Okay, but the blue pills can. They can. Not always. They don't work 100% of the time, and not for all men. But this can actually force an erection. So we're going to stick here. So anyway, they stopped working, and that's what happened to my friend. They stopped working after about a year. Okay, he was fairly sexually active, but even then, he told me that they didn't work all the time, and sometimes they just gave him maybe a 70% erection, 60% erection, just barely enough to penetrate. Sometimes they didn't work at all. Horrible side effects, headaches, reflux, all that stuff, right? So he really hated taking them. But when he stopped taking them, he panicked, because once you're on the ED drugs, it does a couple of things. First of all, on a subconscious level, it makes you, it reinforces the feeling and the belief that you're not enough, that you need something external from you to function like a man, right? Which really messes with our head as men, really messes with our head. And then you start to become dependent, because now you're thinking you really need them, right? So you begin to feel less and less like a man. It's horrible. Right. And that's what was happening to him. And he freaked out when they stopped working, because now he's like, what the hell do I do now? The pills aren't working anymore. What am I going to do? Right. So this is exactly what they do. And he's the one that made me aware of this. They gave him 2 options. Right. I'm just going to talk about the first one here first, because this is what he ended up doing. This is what most guys will go to next, is Trimix. Okay. Where you literally inject your penis with a very powerful set of chemicals to force an erection, just like I was talking about with the checking for venous leakage, right? They have to inject something in there to get a very, get an erection, force an erection. But even this doesn't work 100% of the time for all guys, right? But it's definitely more powerful. So it's actually causing even more damage than the ED drugs. See, none of this is addressing the source. It's only addressing the symptoms to try to force an erection, right? So you're never getting at the source. So the source of the problem keeps getting worse and worse and worse, because it's never addressed. And then you put the drug on top of it, which is causing even more damage. Okay, so it tends to lead right here. And that's what blew me away. I never knew anything about Trimix. When he started telling me he was injecting his penis, I was like, what the hell is that? And I don't think most guys know about this because guys don't talk about it. But there are tens of thousands of guys who are injecting themselves every day with Trimix. It's happening all over the place, especially now because ED drugs are being advertised everywhere. I see it everywhere now. The kids, I have like 13, 14, 15-year-old kids who even shouldn't be on this stuff talking to me worried because they're taking like blue chewable candies, right, that have ED drugs inside of them. This is becoming normalized already. And this is where it leads. We need to talk about this as men. We need to stop being silent. Okay, guys need to know this is where ED drugs are leading you. Okay, right here, injecting your penis. And the scary thing, okay, that was scary enough. That probably would have done it to me enough. But when he told me one time he almost had to have his penis amputated because of this, because his erection went on for more than 12 hours. And I'm not going to go into the whole story. I've put it several other places. But when the blood came out of him, when he finally drained the blood out of his penis, it was thick and black because there was no more oxygen in the blood. Right? And that will kill the tissues of your penis. Your tissues have to have blood. He almost lost his penis from doing this. Okay? And every time you do it, it creates scar tissue in your penis. Okay? You can only do it so many times. Eventually, this will stop working too. I've worked with a client who actually did this and got Peyronie's disease because of the scar tissue, which is a curvature of the penis. Right? So he injected himself. It built up a scar tissue, and now he's got a curve in his penis that he didn't have before. Okay. So all these things, I just want to make you aware of it, right? If you're taking ED drugs, this is where it's heading. This is where it's heading. And then it heads to this because eventually Trimix doesn't work. Eventually it will stop working too. And what they do is they do what's called a penile implant where they actually cut open your penis. Well, actually they cut open your scrotum. But they stick 2 chambers into your penis, which damages the corpus callosum, the natural chambers in your penis. And the reason that's important is that once those chambers are damaged, it's irreversible, right? You will never get a natural full-on hard-on again after you have that. So you are completely dependent at that point. They range in price, but on average, they're about $87,000. And you risk penile amputation because you can get infection anytime you get it. So it's a dangerous surgery, and it has to be done every 10 to 20 years. It has to be replaced. So you got to pay for it again. And the head of your penis doesn't work anymore. It doesn't get hard anymore. Okay, it's not like a natural erection. It's literally like wearing a strap-on, kind of. You know, that's kind of what it's like. And you pump it up through this third testicle. I'm bringing all this up because, for one thing, I'm just really fucking concerned because I am seeing more ED advertisements, more YouTube influencers, pushing ED drugs to young audiences, especially these blue chewable candies, right, that have ED drugs built into them. So that it's becoming normalized. It's becoming more and more normalized. And they don't understand that it's not addressing the source. This was unheard of 30 years ago. Right? People weren't doing this. This is this huge, unfortunate guinea pig experiment that we're all in. And I at least at least know what you're going into when you go if you go down this route, where it's taking you. Okay, because it's really, really scary to me. And I don't see anyone else talking about it. So I'm going to talk about it. And then you can do with this information what you want. Okay, but this is the urologist business model. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. And the reason, look up any urologist website. Call them up. Ask them what their treatments are. And I bring it up on this one because the blood flow alpha inhibitor is where this is most relevant I might bring it up again when I do testosterone, but most relevant here because this is dealing with blood flow. It's dealing with blood flow.
Hey man, I hope you got a ton out of this segment of the BFAI Blood Flow Alpha Inhibitor video series, where we are diving deep into overcoming this insidious alpha inhibitor that is blocking our birthright of having natural, long-lasting, stage 4 rock-hard erections. If you'd like to get free access to the entire BFAI Blood Flow Alpha Inhibitor video series, make sure you click the link in the description of this video to register for free access to all of these life-changing videos in this series, along with some other surprise bonuses. Also, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, and turn on your notifications bell so you get all of the future value-packed videos just like this that I will be releasing for you to help you be the best version of yourself and have natural, stage 4, rock-solid performance. I will see you tomorrow in the next BFAI Blood Flow Alpha Inhibitor video.